Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Sporting Perspective. It is week 16 of the NFL season. 13 teams have been eliminated. A few teams have clinched their place in the playoffs. Quite a few teams, still trying to figure out if they're going to make it or not. Before we jump into week 16, though, we had a lot happen in week 15 that's not only going to affect the rest of this year, but very much next year as well. With that said, James, I will pass it over to you. And I know we have some things that we want to discuss.
Yeah, the first thing, one that a lot of people have been talking about, and where I know we're a little behind the game, but that's all right. Chiefs obviously were eliminated. Uh, Something that preseason I don't think a lot of people would have predicted. And honestly, it was a really not only, not only did they get eliminated, they lose Patrick Mahomes for the foreseeable future. ACL injury is never good. Um, yeah, it's kind of sad to see a sad for some, happy for others to see a dynasty come to an end. Um, this could be the end of Travis Kelsey's career. We're not sure yet. But an interesting stat I saw: this will be the first time I put down first time in ages. I think it was 1998
Yep, I know what stat you're talking about.
that Brady, Manning, or Mahomes will not be in the playoffs.
Yep,
That is absolutely insane.
yep,
So, um, fun for the rest of the league. It's going to be fun to see some new blood.
yep.
But Chiefs are an interesting team. They basically get to tank all of next year while Mahomes recovers. Maybe he plays a little bit towards the end. He claims he's going to try to come back. I don't know if that'll. We'll see. Um, but they're going to get a good pick this year. Relative to what they're normally used to picking, and then next year, depending how they do and the team they put out on the field, they could get another really good pick, and then Mahomes theoretically will come back in that 2027 season.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've been kind of mentioning it throughout the season that, this has not been the Chiefs team that we've been accustomed to the last 10 years for sure. And losing Mahomes now to the ACL tear is very unfortunate. He's already gone through surgery and everything like that. I know it's usually about a 9 to 12 month recovery period. So yeah, it's going to take out potentially most of next year. But I think we both can be in agreement that the Chiefs come 2027 are going to look very different. So
Yeah, the
this is
ball
going to
definitely did not bounce. For the ball to bounce their way, it seemed every time last year. It did not this year.
yeah, it just didn't. And you know, injuries suck. I don't know how else to put it. And, I know we're not going to, I know what we're going to talk about here. I just want to mention another one, and Micah Parsons, his ACL tear as well as kind of messed up another team in Green Bay. And it was just leave it at, it sucks when some of the best players, not only in the NFL, but all sports get hurt and get hurt for an extended time. You just never want to see it. And, while it's really cool that we're going to see a different team out of the AFC this year, something we haven't seen in a very long time, um, you kind of want to see the best out there. So, which bridges me to my first point, which is the AFC East. And that is that wonderful game that we saw last week. The Bills coming back from 21 down to take down the Patriots. Um, you know, the reason I bring this up is we can both agree. Patriots have been really good. They were riding a 10-game winning streak coming into this past weekend. They're either going to be the 1 or 2 seed more than likely, unless they collapse here. But with the Chiefs now out, the Bills have an opportunity for the first time to overtake the AFC. This is not the best team they've had. This is not a great defense, but this has got to be Josh Allen's moment. And if it doesn't happen this year, and he gets eliminated by a Bo Nix second year Denver team or a second year Drake May Patriots team, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But these two teams, they were great to watch last week.
Yeah, Bills need to capitalize on Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld getting
Yeah,
pregnant.
yeah,
Josh Allen's going to have that dad energy. I remember she got interviewed. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago. There's a clip out there of her. They're asking something, about the Bills and how they're going to do in the playoffs. And she just goes, "Well, do you know who's at the helm?" So it's really going to have to be Josh Allen just willing that team to victory. Because
yeah,
other than James Cook, it's a bunch of nobodies.
yeah. And then just talk about like the quarterback picture just kind of quickly. Had I told you at the beginning of the year that going into the playoffs, Mahomes isn't there, he's hurt. Bengals didn't make it, so no Joe Burrow. Lamar has a bad year in Baltimore. You would basically be saying, "Oh, Josh Allen's got this in the bag."
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah,
Especially if, yeah.
there's a good chance that all three of those aren't going to be in the playoffs. So,
Yeah, it's been such a weird year. Such a year of parity. And a lot of teams I think have hit the accelerator quicker than we thought.
yeah,
Um Talking about quarterbacks, I thought about making this my number 1 point, but decided to make it number 2. It was really just going to be about Tua and how bad he's been, but now that we're recording, we've come to find out that McDaniels is benching him in favor of rookie Quinn Ewers, so that'll be interesting to see. Miami's not really out of it yet. Um, they have a tough road if they want to make a wild card spot, but this could be the end of Tua's time in Miami, which uh, honestly, I'm trying to think how to put this into words. What an awful contract they gave him. I think this contract that went to Tua, I think, and how he's played based on that contract, I think needs to kind of reset the quarterback market. Just because you have a starter and just because you have a guy that can, you think, win games doesn't mean you should just pay him out the ass because it might bite you in the long run. So they're gonna have to. That's a hell of a contract they have to deal with. I don't know of any team that would really want to take on Tua. I mean, I'm not saying that he. Who knows? He could be the starter next year. I guess maybe he just needs a little mental reset. But
yeah,
talk about a, a guy who was on the highest of highs, won the national championship, came in as one of the greatest accuracy quarterbacks of all time, and has just completely just taken a nosedive. I mean, obviously, concussions and injuries haven't helped, but yeah, who know? I mean, we could very well not see Tua play an NFL game ever again.
yeah. I mean, the two biggest problems, or I mean, one of the biggest problems with him for next year is I heard on the radio today is a $53 million cap hit next year.
Oh,
I mean, it's an awful contract. So I don't know how you just eat that. And then the second thing is, if this is the end of two and it's all said and done, um, you know, you're going to always look back on that 2020 draft and be like, wow, we took Tua ahead of Justin Herbert by one pick. You could have had Jordan Love, could have had Jade, you could have had Hurts. It's starting to look kind of rough, and obviously Burrow went one, but um, I don't think there's anyone that can really argue this at this point. He's five out of those five quarterbacks.
I saw a hypothetical trade of the Cardinals in Miami trading Kyler for Tua, and I was like, trading trash for trash. I mean, maybe Kyler could be okay in Miami. He still at least can play the quarterback position. His issue is he's small and gets hurt all the time.
And
Tua just
the only way that would work is if Miami took all the salary,
right.
which is probably not going to happen.
Well, as a Cardinals fan, not that I'm the GM of the team, but I don't want Tua. What's
No,
he?
I was kind of thinking who would take him at this point. Like I mean, we're not really talking about it, but I mean, just from a health standpoint, we're a year and a half away from talking about the guy ever playing again just due to concussions. That's
Right.
nothing to do even with physical football play. That's just the fact of he's had so many concussions and so many injuries that he gets hurt a lot.
And he's not getting any younger.
No, he's not. He's not getting faster, and not getting younger. Um, Let me jump to my second point, which is a team that actually we have not talked about at all, really. I don't think in this whole podcast this season, outside of just predictions, and that's Houston. And I think a lot of people we're not just like bad football fans here. I think this has been a common thing almost across the whole NFL. Houston's kind of flown under the radar, and now one game out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 10-4. They're 9-5. They started out horrible, 0-3. They dealt with injuries, but the reason why I'm bringing them up is one, they're right in the thick of it. But on top of that, their defense may be one of the best in the league, and a defense when come to playoff time, it looks like they're gonna get in. You don't want to play them. And especially since the teams that they've lost to, they lost to the Rams, they're good. They lost to Seattle, they're good. They lost to Tampa Bay on a last-second field goal. They don't lose to bad teams, and their defense just keeps them in it every single week.
Yeah, and those are all NFC teams. So depending who they get matched up against, I mean, what's that? There's that thing that it's like every year. It's like don't play Houston on 1 o'clock on Saturday. Aren't they always like the first game or 10
Yep.
a.m.?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is by far, I would say, the best defense in the NFL right now. Stroud is finally looking like he's taking a step forward. So yeah, they're a scary team. Nico Collins is still somehow super underrated. Woody Marks is looking like a stud, and then you got Chubb as the backup, who he's not the Chubb of old, but he can still grind out a couple yards here and there. So yeah, I think they're a legit team. I don't know about Super Bowl contender, but they're definitely in dark horse material.
And I'll add on this as well. With Kansas City now out, I'd have to relook at this, but that's the team. Kansas City's the team that's knocked out Houston, in my memory, 3 times. So they don't have to go to Kansas City this time.
That's true. That's a good point. Last point I'll make this super quick. It's a team we actually have talked about a lot. A team that people talk about. I'll just say it. The Broncos. People talk about the Broncos a lot more. They're still a weird team, but I think we're finally getting to a point where the Broncos are legit. They have a legit defense. They do just enough on offense to win. And honestly, I think it's like 7 or 8 of their games have been like one-score games, so they know how to win close games. They know how to come from behind. They're like fourth quarter demons. They scored all their all their points in the fourth quarter. So I'm putting the Broncos as a legit AFC Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
And yeah, after this past week, I'm not skeptical of them anymore. I think I'm bought in. I think they are legit. They're a weird team. It's Bo Nix and a bunch of guys you probably haven't heard of other than maybe Cortland Sutton. I mean, they're down J.K. Dobbins. They might actually be down R.J. Harvey. I know he got hurt towards the end of the game, so they're a little banged up, but they're still a good team nonetheless.
Yeah, they're not going to be an easy outcome come January. Playing in Mile High is never easy, and that's what looks like the AFC is going to have to go through. Sean Payton, great coach. We always have known that. That defense has been good for years now. And then I will say this as well, because this is kind of where college football is trending towards. For many years, it was those quarterbacks trying to get out as fast as possible, and then, they're unprepared. Bo Nix played a ton of football in college football. And, now we're kind of seeing a trend with NIL and quarterbacks sticking around. Guys that are way more polished coming in, and Bo Nix came into the NFL very polished. He's like 26 years old, and this is his second year. But he looks like a mature quarterback that knows his limitations, which really helps out.
Yeah, so he's in his second year. He's 25. He'll be 26 in February. Tua, for example, is 27.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely an older dude, but he's a gamer. He knows how to win.
Yeah, and I think there was some value to the fact that, he started in the SEC, played a lot of SEC football, and then moved over to Pac-12. He saw a lot of Pac-12. So he saw a lot of defenses and a lot of different guys in his it was 5 years of playing, if I remember right. So, um, my last one, just this is kind of a throwaway, but Dallas is pretty much dead and gone at this point. They have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. But I will just say this I hate how the NFL schedules Dallas. And this is what I'm about to say. We are currently in a run where they have been on prime time 4 or 5 weeks, and they are dead and gone. This is the NFL. We don't need Dallas on prime time every single weekend. That's not us.
Yeah, I mean, if they were in contention or even one of the better teams, sure, but they've been basically in the hunt all year.
Yeah, like I get the Thanksgiving game, but like so they went Thanksgiving to Thursday night football to Sunday night football to okay, they have a 10 o'clock game this week to then they're playing on Christmas.
Market, I guess. Jerry Jones is handing over those big bucks.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, that was my last point. All right, well should we jump into some games?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. There's games on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This is probably the best time to be a football fan, do the bowl games and everything like that. Saturday, Friday, Saturday, we have the college football playoff. So if you are looking for football at the highest level, it's ready for you before Christmas Day. And we'll start on Thursday Night Football. This is a fantastic game. This potentially will determine the one seed potentially in the NFC, definitely the West. Rams going to Seattle.
It's in Seattle. Rams are a little banged up. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to play. Puka apparently is Mr. Gumby. Some of those hits he took, it looked like he wasn't going to get up, and then he's back out there. But I'm just going to say that no Devontae, and in Seattle, I think the 12th man helps a little bit. I'm taking the Seahawks. I know the Rams running back crew, I'll call them, of Corum and Williams has been fantastic, but I think the 12th man in Seattle helps just a tad, and I'm going to take the Seahawks by a field goal.
I'm taking Seattle as well, mostly because it's in Seattle. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC, though. As I said a couple weeks ago, I think that's going to be my Super Bowl pick. I still kind of back that, but I am going to take Seattle here. It's just a tough place to play. I think they're just going to do enough. Seattle's also been fairly lucky that they've been healthy. Rams are a little bit banged up going into this one. So let's jump over to Saturday, where we got the Eagles heading to Washington.
I'm taking the Eagles. I know it's a divisional game. It's on the road. Eagles are just a better team. Commanders, I know he's a Band-Aid. He's not, there's worse quarterbacks out there, but they're just not the same without Jaden Daniels. Yeah, Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles too. I think the Raiders game helped them out, beating them 31-0. I think we'll see some continuation of that going out. Another divisional game, another important game for standings for sure. Green Bay, who is just beat up can be at this point, heading to Chicago.
Yeah, right now it's war of attrition, and I'm taking the Bears. They're just a little more healthy. Side note, very strange for not only real life but fantasy. Adunze was supposed to play.
Yeah.
Literally a minute before the game, retweaked something, was out. So hopefully, I would think it wasn't that bad. Obviously, it was bad enough not to play. I think he'll be back this week, hopefully. And there's more names on the Bears right now. I don't know who Jordan Love's throwing the ball to. So
yeah,
and
I
Michael
agree.
Parsons doesn't help on the defense. That's a huge loss.
Yeah, Parsons was a big part of that team, of the Packers beating the Bears just 10 days ago. He's not there anymore. And as you said, Watson got hurt. Tucker Kraft has been hurt for a while and done for the season. It's been a rough go, and I'm going to take Chicago because of it. So let's jump over to Sunday. Not a great one here, but you just never know. Bills heading to Cleveland. Myles Garrett could very well break the sack record in this game, though.
Yep, that was going to be the only thing I'd mention. This game doesn't really intrigue me. I think the Bills win handedly, but it's intriguing at least to watch Miles Garrett and see what goes on with that sack record.
I agree. I'm going to take the Bills too. I don't think Garrett does it this week, but he gets a little bit closer. Um, Chargers heading to Dallas.
Cowboys to me are playing too much like George Pickens. They're they're just not playing well. Dak had a really bad game this past week. Pickens doesn't seem engaged. I don't think Dallas is engaged, especially now that they're basically out of it. I think they have to go undefeated, and the Eagles would have to go defeated for them to make it, and that's not going to happen. So I'm taking the Chargers, even though it's on the road in Jerry Dome.
Yeah. I wanted to take the Chargers here. For some reason, I got Dallas. I'm taking Dallas. I think this might be the last time we really see a good performance out of them. Uh, Chargers also coming off a very emotional week, beating the Chiefs and that whole Mahomes thing and everything like that. I could see a letdown happen here. So I'm going to take Dallas. I think this is the last time we see their A effort come out, and it helps that it's at home. Kansas City at Tennessee. Garner Minshew at the helm. Who do you got?
If this was in November, or towards the end of November, where it's no shave November and then you got to shave off the stash, I think I'd take the Titans. But we're in the heart of December. The stash is still flowing for Minshew, so he's a gunslinger. He still has all the weapons Mahomes had. So the Titans are just really bad. So
Yeah.
I still think the Chiefs win this game, even with Minshew at the helm.
I'm going to take a brief upset. I'm actually going to take the Titans. And the reason I say that is, well, we don't know what we're going to see out of Kansas City here with everything that's gone down. It's been a long time since they've played a meaningless regular season game. And that said, Tennessee's actually had back-to-back weeks where their offense actually looked pretty good. They scored 31 against Cleveland, and then they scored 20 some against San Francisco last week. They haven't been turning the ball over, and the offense has been kind of clicking. So I'll take Tennessee at home. Cincinnati at Miami.
I can't really back Quinn Ewers. We haven't seen. I think we've seen maybe like a quarter or a couple snaps out of him this year. Um, yeah, I want to see what this offense looks like with him. Bengals are still. They still have Burrow. They still have potentially Higgins this week and Chase. So I'm just going to take the names and take the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't think Cincinnati's going to give up, so I'm going to take Cincinnati here. Not much else to say there. Jets heading to New Orleans. New Orleans has really kind of put their thumbprint on the playoff situation, beating Tampa Bay and Carolina the last 2 weeks. But who do you got here now that they're playing a team that overall just sucks?
Yeah, it's two shitty teams, but the Saints are less shitty. And Tyler Shuck actually looks okay, so I'm going to take the Saints.
I'm going to take the Saints as well. They've actually shown some promise the last 2 weeks, so I'll take the Saints. Another one with two teams that have been eliminated. Minnesota heading to the New York Giants.
I'm going to keep going with what I've been saying. I'm going to take Vikings, good defense, and J.J. McCarthy's looking better. And he's technically not a rookie, but basically, so baby steps. He's only played in what, like 6 games total, 5, 6 games, so he's still young, but he looked a lot better last week. So I think the Vikings go into New York and win.
Yeah, I got Minnesota for the exact same reason. Nothing to add there. Tampa Bay heading to Carolina. These two teams, if I remember right, they're tied in the NFC South, so this could determine who comes out of that division, the champion.
I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to take the Bucks on the road. Um, More stars. Mike Evans is back. He had a fantastic return of a game, and I think that continues. That receiving core is just too good to not do anything with Godwin, Abuka, and Evans. So another week of rust off for Bucky Irving. So hopefully he can start getting it going. 'Cause I like this Bucks team. If they can squeak in as the division winner, I mean they're kind of scary if they can get healthy.
I agree. I trust the Bucks more than the Panthers. We've seen the Panthers have great weeks. We've seen the Panthers be terrible. The Bucks, a lot of their problems this year have come back to injury and just kind of getting a rhythm. Bucks just have more talent, as you said, so I'm taking them. Let's head to the afternoon games. This could very well be a playoff preview. Jacksonville heading to Denver.
It's hard for me to think Trevor Lawrence does what he does again. That was probably the greatest game he's had in his NFL career, and there's no way he's going to go to Denver and even do half of that. So my prediction would be 2 touchdowns or less out of him. Broncos are just too good of a defense, so I'm taking the Broncos at home.
Yeah, I'm taking Denver as well. They're just on a high note, and going to Denver and winning is tough these days. So I'll take Denver. They're fighting for that 1 seed, so I see that continuing to roll. Atlanta heading to Arizona. You can buy tickets for this one for $10.
I don't even know if I was in Arizona, I'd probably go. I'd have to wait for someone to give me tickets to go to the game. Honestly, I'm going to take the Cardinals just because Brissett's been good. The offense isn't the issue for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
It's the defense. So if they can just get a couple stops on Bijan Robinson, they could win this game. Falcons aren't any good. Kirk Cousins isn't good. I'm just banking that Brissett and why am I blanking on the tight end McBride just keep going at it. I mean, McBride had like 11 catches last week, something crazy. So I'm just going to take the Cardinals because why not?
Yeah, I can take the Cardinals too for a little bit different reason. This is where the Cardinals start winning games to screw up their draft stock for next year. So this is where it all goes downhill, and we start saying, hey, they could finish up with a top 4 pick, and they'll win 2 of their last 3, and they'll end up with 8 or 9, and that's going to suck. So, but I think the Cardinals win this one actually. Pittsburgh heading to Detroit. Pittsburgh ahead in the north. Detroit's kind of fighting for their lives. I think they got like a 38% chance to make it in the playoffs, but they really got to win all these things out.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions. I saw something on Twitter that showed Jahmyr Gibbs for the last 4 weeks has gone 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. Well, he had 0 last week. Maybe he'll have 3 this week. Either way, I'm taking the Lions on a bounce back.
Fair enough. I'm going to take the Lions too. I don't have too much to add there. Potentially the biggest stinker of the week, Vegas heading to Houston. This is a 15-point line.
Yeah, Texans. They're not losing this game.
Yep, I got the Texans as well. Raiders' offenses look atrocious. Sunday Night Football, very interesting one. New England heading to Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots. I don't think they squander this one like they did to the Bills. And again, it's weird to say this, but I need to see what Lamar can prove to me. Something's off in Baltimore, and Lamar just doesn't look like Lamar. So, Patriots are the better team, so I'm going to take the Patriots.
I got Baltimore on this one. It's purely the fact of I think Baltimore comes into this game. It's a playoff game. They have to win or they're not in, basically. Patriots probably come in with a lot of the same energy, but I just feel like Baltimore is going to be in a little bit more desperation because they just haven't looked right. Even when they win, they haven't looked right. I mean, I'll declare it now. They don't win this one, they're done. So that's just kind of how it is. Monday Night Football, a game that would have looked a lot more interesting earlier in the year, kind of a dud now. San Francisco heading to Indianapolis. Granted, Phillip Rivers, being 44 years old, actually looked fine last week.
Yeah, he was all right. I don't think he's going to be as good against this 49er team. I'm going to take the Niners. I mean, it's still... He got signed on Wednesday, played on Sunday. That's 4 days. So he's still, in the 10-day window of getting signed. It'd be a hell of a story if he can pull out a win. I just don't think he's going to, so... I haven't looked at their future schedule. And that's even if he continues playing. Right. Personally, I don't know if there's any benefit once Riley Leonard gets, fully healthy. See what Riley Leonard gives you.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers isn't your future. He's just kind of a a stopgap for these couple games. But yeah, I would think the 49ers win this one.
I think the 49ers win this one as well, and I agree with you. I think we're only going to see this Philip Rivers thing. Maybe this could be the last week of it, and Riley Leonard comes back, or any one of their quarterbacks, because they have a few that they could try out. Well, that's the slate for Week 16. As I said, a lot of playoff implications going on, but we're going to talk about some teams that have already been eliminated. Usually we do a top five here, but in the Christmas spirit, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to bring up a team that's already been eliminated, and I'm going to ask James what they should be asking for Christmas this year. And we're going to just start out hot with the Kansas City Chiefs. What should they be asking for Christmas this year?
I'm going to say a tight end. I think quarterback, they're fine. Mahomes is still, I guess he's not young, but he's still got a career. I mean, there's been all these ties to Tom Brady, had the same injury and comes back and had, the second part of his career. But I'm going to say a tight end. I think they're solid at wide receiver, and I just think they need to usher in this new era of post Travis Kelce. I mean, regardless if he retires or not, I mean he's going to be 37 next year, and Noah Gray is just not doing it. They need to find that heir apparent. If they didn't go tight end, I'd probably say like a lineman. Their run game's been really bad. Yeah, I'd say a lineman. I mean, running back, you can find someone to play running back, but I would say their top two needs definitely are tight end, and then like an interior, exterior lineman on the offensive side of the ball.
Good choice there. Let's bring it to a team that has been very bad. Just 2 wins, and the Vegas Raiders. What should they be asking for Christmas this year?
Quarterback. They have an edge rusher. Max Crosby, for now, he's a Raider until he's not. I really wanted to go wide receiver here too. They have a couple young dudes who still have a little bit of promise, and I think it's Beck or Besh and Dante Thornton. I'm sorry, but Tucker just isn't going to do it as a number one. He's like 5'3". Guy's a little guy. But they need a quarterback. The Geno Pete Carroll experiment just didn't work. Not saying Pete Carroll's gone, but those two had ties, which is why they brought Geno to Las Vegas. But they need to draft Ty Simpson, Mendoza, Dante Moore, someone like that, and really just hand the reins over to a young dude and let that team grow, especially with Genti. I mean, on a rookie contract and a promising running back.
Yep. What should the Arizona Cardinals ask for?
Everything but a tight end. If I have to narrow it down, though, I mean, they probably should be looking for a quarterback. Looks like Kyler's probably going to head on out. Brissett is not the future. But like you said, they're probably going to win a couple games and get in like that 8 or 9 slot, which will probably miss out on the Mendoza, Moore, Ty Simpson area. So they could use an O-line. I know they have Paris Johnson at left tackle. I know he's hurt, but I mean he's solid. He's good. They could use. I would say go get that Utah lineman Fanu or whatever his name is. Go get another. You just got to shore up the line at this point. Just shore up your offensive line because it's something that Arizona seems to never have is a good offensive line.
What should the Cincinnati Bengals ask for?
An edge rusher. So they lost Sam Hubbard randomly to retirement, which was actually probably pretty smart to save that brain. And then this whole Trey Hendrickson thing just has been a very odd. He's one of the best edge rushers in the game, but he's had a bad year. Came back on a
Franchise tag.
Franchise tag. But they need help on defense. Their defense is porous. Go get a really good edge rusher who can just pressure quarterbacks, which could maybe help mask the rest of the defense.
Yeah. What should the Cleveland Browns ask for?
I'm going to say a new head coach. I think they need to get rid of Stefanski and they need to get to a point where they need to really find someone who's going to define the Browns culture, and that's something that I don't even know if we've seen in our lifetime. I can't
Yeah.
think of the last time the Browns were, steadily solid. They have like a year or two here or there, and you're like, oh, they've turned a corner. Nope. Yeah, I think they need a new head coach. Change that. Change the mindset in Cleveland and just redefine the culture.
What should the New York Giants ask for? I would say a good medic, but that's me.
That's actually so. I put a helmet that limits concussions
Yeah, that's a good one.
because Dart is not going to have a long NFL career if he keeps playing like how he's playing.
Yeah.
He would have to. Yeah, he better ask Santa for some Mondo helmet that just literally limits concussions because the way he plays, and if he has another couple more concussions, he might be the next Tua.
Yeah, he might be.
But yeah, a medic would be good too because I mean Neighbors needs to come back healthy, Scadaboo coming back healthy. That's a good trio right there. So
Yeah, it's a good trio if it's healthy. So, but all right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this show. Anything you want to talk about before we jump off here?
I don't think so. Week 2 of fantasy playoffs for some people. College football playoffs are going on, and
Yep.
should be a fun weekend of football.
Yeah, it should be a lot of football. Actually, will be a lot of football here for the next 5 days or whatever. And we got a lot of football, man. A lot of football. Yeah, I don't think we got anything else. Shout out to the Knicks for winning the NBA Cup. I don't know if anyone cares, but hey, that happened.
Banner's a banner.
Banner's a banner. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to talk about. When we got a show tomorrow, we'll be talking, as you mentioned, college football playoff first round, as we'll be predicting those games. Until then, have a wonderful night, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.